All righty. What's up, you guys? Figured I'd come and hang out with you guys for a little bit. All right, let me get my comments up here. Hope y'all been doing well. It's been a while since I've done a live, so like I said, see if I can hang out with you guys for a little bit, answer some questions, let you guys know kind of what's going on in life, schedule, training, if you guys haven't been following along my recaps, things like that. And then just before you go any further, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Lots of good stuff coming up. Obviously, Road to 700 pounds is underway. We got a full meet coming up, Boss of Bosses 6 in Mountain View, California. That is going to be August 31st of this year, and pretty excited. My squat and deadlift numbers have been kind of in a maintenance mode for a while. Still building them up though, but I'm pretty excited to kick those up into another gear. Bench is still going to stay very much on the forefront. We're going to see what we can't do in this bench prep as well. Obviously, if you guys have been kind of following along, June 29th was going to be the planned next meet to try to break that 700 barrier, and the last couple of training days just didn't go kind of as planned. I've been traveling a little bit lately, so the smarter thing is just to put off the meet, or not put off the meet, but just put off doing a meet right now, and then go ahead and jump into a meet that I already committed to, which is Boss of Bosses, which I think will be the smarter thing. Let's see, trying to pull up the comments, questions over here. Bear with me for just a second. Let's see what I got. Getting there, hold on. There we go. All right. Come on. Do you think Sarachev will beat Maddox, or Maddox and Sarachev the next 20 years? Honestly, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. I know Maddox is definitely going to go probably north of 750. That's a pretty safe bet. You know, if everything stays perfect, no injuries, and you know, obviously you can add some more weight, you know, the sky's the limit. At least I hope it is. Now, I don't know with Kirill. I don't know his training. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's, you know, what he's planning on doing. He may not even come back. Who knows? If I was him, I would wait to see if Maddox breaks my record and then come back and train and try to see if I can break it again. The one thing that I, you know, as a elite level bencher myself, the one thing I do notice when a lot of people will discuss other benchers' lifts is the fact that a lot of it is based on how the lift looked in order to project what the next lift or potential lift could be at the next meet. That is really not a safe bet because every lifter is a little different. Kirill is definitely a very smooth lifter. There's not a speed rep. It's not, he doesn't utilize a lot of technical aspects, at least not to the degree that it's very noticeable. That's what makes his lifts look flawless. Now, I'm not his coach and I don't do his training. All I know is from what I see, which is what you guys see. But when it comes to like Kirill, I can only assume that when he did the 738, that was what he had for the day. Like, why wouldn't you go any higher? So I'm not saying he doesn't have 750 in him. I'm not saying he doesn't have 800. Who knows? But it's very difficult to be very confident to say, oh yeah, we could definitely see a 770 from Kirill because of how smooth the 738 looked. That's a bad assumption. also is age. You know, yes, Kirill was young when he did it, but age really doesn't factor in much, because how do you explain some of the guys that are upwards of 40 years old still doing damn near some crazy stuff, but they didn't do anything when they were in their 20s? You know, it's just, it's apples and apples sometimes, and it's apples and oranges other times. I hope everybody comes out on top, and they keep going and get better and better, but it's hard to say, what's going to happen. So I'm a spectator just like everyone else, even if my name's in that hat. So I really hope that everybody does well and doesn't get injured. It's the sport of powerlifting. Anything can happen. You could have some no-name guy right now come out and do an 800-pound bench at the end of this year. I mean, I don't really put anything out anymore, because there's so many crazy things happening, so many strong lifters coming up out of nowhere. There is no king forever. Somebody will always dethrone somebody, and that's just the cool part about the sport. Now 700, I am still planning on going 700 at Boss of Bosses in a full meet. That's kind of been something that has been on my mind for a while. I think at this meet, I am not planning on doing any specific numbers in my squat and deadlift. I've already got a total. I could give a crap if I go 2,300 or 2,100 or 2,000. I really want a 700 bench at this meet. I just feel like if I do squat and deadlift, it kind of takes the pressure off of the bench a little bit and allows me to have a little more fun with it. If it's a bench only meet, it's a one and done type of thing. And some of you guys might not understand that. Even elite lifters don't understand that, because it's all about the total to a lot of the power lifters. I'm just going to have fun. Like, I am literally at the point in my career where I've accomplished a lot. I've accomplished everything that I could ever want to. I could always accomplish more. That's the downfall, or the good thing about powerlifting, is that there's always a bigger number you can go for. I'm having a lot of fun with it right now. Just stay tuned. I'm excited. Let's see what we got. Absolutely, Kevin. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And as a shameless plug, if you guys have not already, or even if you have, I still have another program coming out. I have an 8, a 16, and a 24-week bench program. I also have a 16 and a 24-week full power program. Right now, and actually I've kind of backdated a little bit. My birthday is going to be in the middle of July, on July 15th. If you purchased a 24-week program, any of them, as long as it's 24 weeks, you'll be entered into a chance to win a pair of your choice of wrist wraps and your choice of elbow sleeves from Mark Bell's Slingshot. I'll do a live where I actually announce a winner and everything like that. But even if you don't win, it's still a great program. I obviously wrote it myself, and I've put a lot of thought into it. I have a 2.0 version program for the bench. So I have a 24-week bench program, which has been around for, I guess, about 7 or 8 months now. Had hundreds of people go on and use that and have given me some great feedback, literally daily. Also, I have a 2.0 program, which is a slightly different approach, slightly different accessory work, which if you've run the first 24 weeks, you could obviously run it again, but you have to change the numbers up, or you can hop on the 2.0 program and get a little variant on your bench work. I will be coming out with a 24-week full power program 2.0 later in the year, but right now it's just the first version. I'm still working on getting feedback, and that's what I use to make the 2.0 programs. But if you go on my website, benchonly.com, you can check it out. Check out my t-shirts. Support me any way you can. That way I definitely appreciate it. But on to the next question. Why is my name Swimhack? So I am a computer programmer. I do website design, internet programming, things like that. So I don't know if you guys are needing anything like that, or you have a gym or you're a personal trainer and you need that type of stuff, I can definitely help you out. I have lots and lots of clients that I've helped out since 2003. And so I'm basically a computer hacker, and I used to be a swimmer. So swim and hack, I created that username way back when, and it just kind of stuck. And then became a power lifter, and I thought there's no reason to change my username. I'm still a swimmer at heart. I still do computer programming. I'm still a hacker at heart. And it kind of spins off into almost another meaning, because you don't normally see a swimmer turn into a powerlifter. So it's kind of a Swimhack. So just a little background on my name. How do you and your coach select accessory movements? So accessory movements are tools to make your main lifts better, to get stronger at your weakness. That really should be the focus on any program, no matter what you're doing, coach-wise, uncoached, doing your own thing. Always work on your weakness. My weakness at this moment in bench is a sticking point about 6 inches off my chest. So dead press, chains, bands, accommodating resistance. Definitely working on my back, because that explosion off the chest is going to help me coast through a speed bump. Basically, is like I like to use that analogy. Your sticking point is where you're weak, somewhere below that sticking point. On bench per se, you're not firing through that sticking point. It's like a speed bump in the road. If you are going 2 miles an hour down a driveway and you hit a big speed bump, more than likely your car is not going to make it over. And if it does, it might just be the front wheel or the back wheel. And even if your car makes it all the way over, it's going to slow it down significantly. In order to get speed back up, you're going to have to do something different. I like to make that analogy where if you hit that speed bump with enough speed, you'll never even feel it. You'll never even you'll go right over it, and it won't even mess you up. As the weight gets heavier, obviously, it'd be like a bigger speed bump. So that's kind of how I think about it. But I'm working on the weaknesses. So when it comes down to accessory work, each accessory has a distinct purpose in the training block. That's why you see me pulling out certain accessories during certain times and pulling them back in. Sometimes it's just I get tired of doing the same accessory and my body stops responding to it. Even if it's getting heavier and heavier, at some point, like weighted dips, there's no point in being able to do a 400-pound weighted dip if my shoulders are going to get hurt because of it. Then I've got to figure out a way to keep my shoulders healthy, just because I'm doing heavy weighted dips, which don't necessarily translate to a bigger bench. They could, but it's one of those things where everything is got a reason to do it. Mr. Strickland, very underrated YouTube-wise. I live in Texas, and I'd be honored to meet you one day. Banquo Parish. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. YouTube is growing. It's not like a million viewers or anything like that, but I think it takes time. I have a slightly different set of content that I'm doing right now, which I feel like is best for what I'm doing and for what I think you guys need to hear. There's a lot of entertainment out there, and that's fine, and they get a lot of likes and views, and that's cool. I'm not really in the entertainment business right now. I have thought about doing something maybe a little more entertaining later on, but I think at this point, when it comes to how I train and the information that I like to convey, I'd like to have at least a pretty decent series of like my road to 2,100 pounds, my road to 700 pounds, and let you guys see kind of the insight of what it is to be an elite lifter that's going through the same crap that everybody else goes through. I've got a family, I've got, my business, I've got a schedule, I've got other things in my life, and lifting is not all that I have. But I want you guys to see the recovery, the aspect, everything about what I'm doing. I want it to be as real as possible. When I'm done with the goals that I have in mind, then I might change up and say, well, now I'm really wanting to entertain you guys. And if you guys want to know more information, look at some of the older videos. So that's kind of the approach I've thought about, but I'm just living life and letting things happen as they do. But yeah, absolutely. If you ever see me anywhere out and about, come and say hi. It's normal. The wife knows. It happens all the time. Actually, it's actually happening more frequently at restaurants and things like that, and in random cities. It's pretty cool to be recognized. It's just lifting, but if you guys, if I'm touching you guys in a way that makes you want to come say hi, then definitely come say hi. I'll shake your hand, sign an autograph, do whatever. It's pretty cool. Kevin, you asked if I will go for 700 in training or before the meet. Things will happen the way they happen. I've normally hit my best PRs in a meet, but there's been times where I can hit something pretty big in training. That just means that honestly that I'll probably hit bigger than that in the meet. So yeah, absolutely. If I can get I got 9.5 weeks left. I took the pedal off the gas just a little bit for bench, just to accommodate the next couple of weeks, adding in some super heavy deadlifts and squats. And if I can manage to get my recovery under wraps, and to get a pretty solid training schedule that works for a full meet schedule. I'm not doing low bar, so my elbows and shoulders should be absolutely 100% this whole training cycle. And I think I could probably go upwards of, it's kind of scary. 750, 800 on a high bar squat. I think it's definitely possible. This meet prep, I don't want to set an upper limit. I did a 745 negative squat yesterday, and I feel pretty darn good about it. I didn't want to do the full squat, the concentric of it, just because it's not really ideal. The most that I've squatted up to that point was 650 for 2. Prior to that, and I didn't want to throw on another 100 pounds and basically max out. Even if I could have completed the rep, what next? Am I going to go 760 next week and 770 the next week? I mean, at some point I'm going to be maxing out and I'm not going to be peaking correctly. Also, I don't want to hurt my joints and tendons and ligaments. They're not ready for that kind of weight. So static holds, some negatives, just getting accommodated with the with that kind of weight will keep me healthy. And then as we start to peak, we'll really see some numbers go up. If that's what I'm capable of, then we'll see what happens. But I would love to be able to do 700 during this meet prep, and then show up on meet day and do either that or something higher. But we'll just see. It's playing it by ear, playing it smart, and living to fight another day. Sarachev hasn't been really doing much serious training. His technique is absurd. He's been doing heavy curls and bulking. So he's playing the same game that Larry Wheels is. Larry, I think, is a little bit more serious with a strongman, obviously, but I don't think he's really focusing on powerlifting. That the Sarachev is not. I think he's just kind of playing the entertainment game. He's obviously got a business to run, so it's whatever. I mean, everybody does what they got to do. Now, I scrolled up a little too fast. I saw somebody ask how much my programs are. They run anywhere from $19.99 for 8-week all the way up to $60 is actually a special I got going on for my 24-week bench program. My full power programs, I think I've got a special. Right now it's $149 for 6 months of training, so it's pretty darn good. But check it out, benchonly.com. Let's see what we got. Heard the bench press potential peaks at age 40. I think that's crap. You're gonna see me go a lot higher than I am now. I'm 39 next month. I plan on stirring up some of the Masters meets just for fun while I'm going for all-time records as well. So the Masters records are going to be the all-time records, and that's going to be pretty funny because some of these young cats are going to be wondering how this old guy's beating them. But, it's all good. It's fun. Mendelson and Sarachev either compete or train with big-name arm wrestlers. Any interest? Nah, not really. I mean, there's money in that, but not really. It's a whole nother sport. Professor Hulk outside of the gym. Appreciate it, man. No, Powerful Fitness. The only one who's ever done a 700 in a full meet that I am confident. I think there was one other guy, but it's kind of a touch and go. But Kirill did 705 in a full meet and tried a little bit higher and didn't quite get the 727 or so. John, let's see. A question for all major lifts. How do you decide each week what your set and reps are going to be? Well, I actually do not decide for myself. I have a coach, Coach Josh Bryant, Jailhouse Strong. If you guys don't follow him, check him out on YouTube. He's also on Instagram. Really, really, really good coach, down to earth, knows a lot about the sport, knows a lot of people in the sport, a lot of training techniques. Got with him about 2.5 years ago, helped me break over the 600 barrier. Really, really good coach. We're able to work really good together. The synergy is great because I can tell him what I'm thinking about and how my recovery is going. He can adjust some numbers. He leaves a little bit up to me because I am a smart lifter to where I can kind of decide on the day of how does that work. If I need to add a little bit or take a little bit away. I don't do any ego lifts or anything like that. But really the sets and numbers are somewhat pre-programmed in. Obviously there's some changes that could go on based on feedback, but like for example next week I'm not sure what my program is going to be, but since this week we did 650 for 2 on squat, 655 for 2 on deadlift, and I did a 635 single and a bunch of reps down in the 500 range with bench. We'll probably be keeping bench somewhat on the back burner next week just to keep things going. So I mean, I'll probably go about 640 for one, and then a bunch of reps with 500 or so below that on bench. We'll probably go about a 665 for two squat, probably about a 665 for two deadlift. And so keeping that, the twos going, because we got 9 weeks. Next week we'll have 8.5 weeks or so. So we'd like to keep the doubles going for a majority of that time, and then singles probably the last, 3 or 4 weeks. So just kind of doing the math, I don't know what the weight is going to be, because really, if 650 just was a smoke show this week on squat. So it very well could be 675 for two for next week, and then the week after that could be 685 or 690 for two, and then the 700s before we know it. So there's a general template, kind of a pyramiding up until the meet, but what the numbers are going to be, they're not finite for sure. Let's just say, this week I would have missed 650 for two, and it would have been a grinder. There's no reason to go 675 for two. It's going to be a grinder. So I've got to be able to adjust, get some accessory work in. So it might just be 650 for two next week as well, or 660 for two versus 675. It really just is an adjustment. But for the most part, we're peaking towards the meet, which is at the end of August. So we've got a finite date that we're trying to work towards. And that's, we're definitely in meet prep now. And so really it's just a matter of going heavier with less reps each week. All right, now I've caught up with my questions here. Do you have to go heavy all the time to maintain strength? Absolutely not. No, not a chance. In fact, most of the time you don't need to go super heavy. And I'm saying super heavy because there is a difference. When I say, for example, every Monday is a heavy bench day. But heavy for me is the day that I'm hitting my heaviest bench. The lighter bench day is later in the week. That's where I'm adjusting. It's per the week. So my bench press, and let's just put it in terms that's easier to understand for most people, Monday might be my 315 set. And then if I'm a 315 bencher, or let's just say I'm a 4 or 5 bencher, 315 would be my Monday bench, and I might do 225 for reps on Thursday. The next week I might go 320 and then 225 on reps. Now, when I'm talking about, like you're thinking probably super heavy, if you're a 315 bencher, then you shouldn't be going more than maybe 85% or 90%. Most of the time you should be downwards up in the 80 percentile range. In that, you shouldn't be trying to stay as heavy as possible all the time. That will not build strength. That will break you down, and eventually your recovery isn't going to be catching up, and you're going to hurt yourself. So that would be like the equivalent, since I'm a 672 pound bencher, that would be like me going in and doing 650 every day for, every one of my bench days during the year is 650 or more. That would be detrimental to me. You'll see me going, after a meet, I take some time off, I come back and I start doing 500 for reps. That is a considerable decrease from 672. That would be like going in from 315, on your meet day, and then doing 200 as your normal bench set throughout the next 3 or 4 months, building up as you go on until you work up to the next 320, 350, whatever. So heavy is relative, but let's see. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Hey, James, doing the front side and rear delt flies that you do greatly increase my bench. I'm a beginner and the shoulders are pretty weak, and my bench is pretty weak. Awesome. That is a great shoulder exercise. Doesn't need to be super heavy, and you will feel a burn. Now, if you're not feeling a burn, you're not doing enough reps for each set in the superset, or you're not quite heavy enough. But I wouldn't just go and slap on 5-10 more pounds. I mean, new increases very small, because you can hurt your shoulders pretty bad, but you can also build them up really good if you take care of doing it the right way. Best accessories for the bench, not in any specific order. Weighted dips, if you can do them. Tricep, tricep push downs, pull downs, V-bar, straight bar pull downs, lat pull downs, rows, seal rows. That's a really big one. That's just a few. I mean, really, like I said before, they're just tools in the arsenal. You really can't go wrong as long as you're addressing a weakness and make that weakness a strength. You'll expose what your new weaknesses is, and then you have to readjust your accessory work to accommodate whatever that new weakness or that new exposed weakness is. Just like I can work on my sticking point, and now all of a sudden that particular point on my bench or let's say squat, coming out of the hole is a weakness, so I work on that. Now it's a strength. Well, now I've got more weight on the bar because now I have a strength in that weakness area. Now I can't lock it out. So then I'm working on my lockouts. Well, then that becomes a strength, and it can bounce around on you. So let's see. Show that link for the meet. 400-pound dips. How do you judge whether an accessory risk from weight outweighs the gains? Josh Bryant mentioned it in a recent video and liked your take. Yes, he did. And it's very good if you haven't checked it out. And actually, shout out to Julius Maddox, who just broke the American bench record. If you guys haven't heard about it, very underrated bencher, has not gotten enough attention. I don't know why, but he's a training partner, not training partner. Good. He's a coaching. He's coached by the same coach as I am, Josh Bryant. Yeah, the recent video talks about the strategies getting Julius Maddox to the next level. And basically, here's the thing: if you can do super weighted dips, and that is a strength of yours, doing weighted dips, when I get up towards 300 pounds, I start to get lightheaded. I start to, blood pressure, it rises because that's just a lot of pressure on your arms. And it's not a bench press movement. You're literally in a different position. That'd be like saying you could squat 1,000 pounds, but you need to squat one-legged to be able to do 500-pound one-legged squats to fix an imbalance. That one leg is not as stable as two legs. So there's a very good chance you're going to break that leg doing a 500-pound one-legged squat. And that's just silly anyways. So very much similar. What you have to do is know your body. If you're brand new, then you keep things simple. That's the easiest way to do it. You don't go super heavy on things. A lot of guys will say, okay, I can squat 315, but I can leg press 1,000. Well, leg pressing 1,000 pounds is not going to help you bend or help you squat 400. What's going to help you squat 400 is doing perfect technique and form and different variations of actual squat movements as well as regular squat. And then your accessories, if you want to throw some leg press in for some volume work, then absolutely. But there's no reason to throw on just tons and tons of weight just because you can. Plus, if you were to accidentally lock your legs out on leg press, you're going to snap it right off, and now you can't squat at all. So you just defeated the whole purpose of the accessory movement, which is to help you squat. Just like lat pull downs. Let's say you can do lat pull downs, but you're bad form and you're able to do 500 pounds on that, but your back is now injured because you yanked it out of place with 500 pounds of force. T-bar rows is another one where like a lot of people will jerk it up and they'll do all sorts of weird stuff with. You want to keep the movements for the accessory work fairly strict and working the muscle, the mind-muscle connection, and strengthen the muscle, the ligament, the tendons, joints, everything that's in that area so that it does increase the next bench day or next squat day or next deadlift day just a little bit, maybe 5 pounds more. You're not looking to have accessory work do this magical number on your lifts. But really, you just need to be in tune with yourself. If an accessory hurts, then stop doing it or figure out a way to do it where it doesn't hurt. Another big one is elbows. If you have elbow problems with tricep movements, there's so many different types of tricep accessories that you can do. Utilize an alternative and make that work for you. Just because you can't do dips doesn't mean you can't work on your triceps and your chest as an accessory movement. You can do flies and you can do other types of dip movements or even assisted dips. It's just a matter of figuring out, okay, which muscle am I trying to work and how can I work this? And there's a slew of exercises or accessory work for each muscle group. go through them and maybe cycle through them, in a year's time, do all of them and figure out which one works best for you. And you'll see results from one of them, and keep doing that until you stop seeing results. Then you need to figure out something else, another stimulus. All right, let's see. Doing these live chats are often been following you since week 1. Inspiration. Thank you. I appreciate that, Kevin. Hello from Hawaii. What's up? Hawaii is beautiful. Fernando, Julius will get the all-time. I don't know when his next meet is, but if I know anything about Julius, which I pretty much do, he is going to try to jump into a meet within the next month. That's for sure. And I think he'll get it. He just missed the lockout on that left side, and that's it. So literally, he just needs to work that tricep and just that stability, and he'll nail it. And I think he'll go even further than that. All right, let's see. What did I miss? Do you think taking a full week off is good if you're feeling beat up and not able to move the weight at your usual speed and reps? Okay, so I don't advocate taking a full week off. What I would say is back things off about 65, 75%. Basically what you're doing is taking a deload. You're going in and you're getting active recovery. So you're not taking the week off and sitting around, because a lot of times that can actually make you stiff and even more sore. Some of the best times to deload is when you're feeling a little banged up, and you might even feel like, this might not be the week that I could, that I want to take off. If you take it off anyways, you'll come back stronger. You'll actually come back refreshed. I take a deload literally every 4th week, and I would never do it any different until it stops working, and then I maybe need to take, maybe more frequent. But 4 weeks, every 4th week is very, very fine for me. I may end up stretching my training schedule from a 7-day split, which I only work out 4 days a week, to maybe a 10-day split if that's what's needed. But go in and do pretty much the same thing you're doing now, just maybe on your main sets, take them down to about 75%. On your accessory work, back off a couple of sets. So let's say you're normally doing 4 sets of dips, for example, then do 2 sets of dips, and then do the same amount of reps, but then back it off maybe 75% as well on the weight. Try that out and see what happens. It shouldn't feel super easy, but it shouldn't feel moderately difficult. It should just kind of get the blood flowing and move on to the next exercise. You'll know, because you'll come back in the next week and you'll feel a lot better. You'll feel recovered. And don't worry, because it's kind of goes into a question that I had earlier about strength and having to go super heavy in order to feel strong. That's a misconception. A lot of guys will assume if you're not hitting it hard all the time, then you lose some strength. Now, absolutely, could I go into the gym right now and hit a 675 bench press? Probably not. Probably wouldn't be wise. I'm damn near close to it, but there's no reason to go in there and do it every single day. That doesn't mean that on meet day it's not there. It just means that this particular time it's not safe or not a best bet to go and try to do a max effort lift. I try to keep everything sub-maximal for the most part. For example, could I have probably done the 750 pound squat yesterday? I'm pretty damn sure I could have, and it would have probably looked really easy. But is it the smart thing to do, considering the heaviest I've gone is 650 this training cycle? Absolutely not. Live to fight another day. I would rather put up a 650 squat today, a 660 squat tomorrow, not obviously like next week, a 675 squat the following week, a 700 squat the following week, and then at the meet put up 750 and be perfectly happy with it, thinking I had more in the tank and not be injured, than do it today and be injured tomorrow. It's just, I would rather put up the numbers where they count, and then if I have more in the tank, we can take better attempts at the meet. Let's see. Just finished your 8-week bench program. Loved it. Ordered the peaking program today. Yes. What's up, man? I got that order. I got it out to you. I hope you're enjoying it. Hoping I can hit a good number when I'm finished. Absolutely. I appreciate the support. Keep me in the loop. Let me know how everything goes with that. I definitely appreciate your support with my programs and trusting me. I know there's a lot of people out there that are selling programs that are kind of iffy. I do appreciate the feedback. I use that and share it with everybody as much as possible so that they can also benefit from the program. Let's see. I don't know. I didn't peak at 40, and I'm 48 still going. Yes, David. I'm in your same boat. Um, let's just put it this way. I have never once been wrong about my instincts. And ever since I was 14, I've gone against the grain. And I urge you to do the same. Now, I'm not saying to break the law or to go break every single rule in the book and be a jerk to everybody, but half the world is wrong. Half the people that think they know something are absolutely wrong. Um, I have made my own choices for a long time now, and there's consequences to them, but there's also good consequences to them. I could not be happier with the choices I've made in life. I would not be powerlifting today or doing what I'm doing right now had I not made choices earlier on to do my own thing, to pave my own way. This is kind of cliche, and a lot of people say this, and a lot of successful people say this, and it's hard to relate to some of these people. I hope that maybe I can reach out and relate to some of you guys, but I was the guy who would go into a job and the boss would be telling me what to do, and I just couldn't freaking stand it. And I know that's most people. Instead of letting him tell me what to do, I just quit one day and started my own business. Now, I'm not telling you guys to do that, but I'm saying sometimes you just got to take chances, and you just got to make a calculated risk and be willing to accept the consequences. There was times when I couldn't pay the bills. There's times when, you get a car repoed, you can't pay your power bill, and that's feast and famine. But there's no upper limit to my income in a business. If I want to, take the day off, I'm my own boss. I make my own schedule. Now, that means if I'm not working, I don't get paid. So I had to figure out ways to make income when I was not wanting to necessarily work a full 8-hour day. So a lot of people will, kind of give me shit for, oh, well, it looks like you never work. You're always volunteering up at the school. You're always hanging out with the family. You sleep late during the day. You sleep, you're up all night. Well, it's because that's when I make my schedule. I do my own thing. When I run my web design company, I choose when I work. I choose when I take a vacation. I take my work with me. I can do it on the plane. I can do it on my phone. I can choose not to work. But I can also choose when to train and when not to train. So with all that said, I control my destiny. I control what goes on in my life. And this is back in 2003 when I started my own company. Had no inkling of powerlifting. I was an avid swimmer at the time. I was working out probably 4 to 5 hours a day, working probably, this is before I started the company. I was working, 8 hours. So I didn't have time for family. I didn't have time for anything else. I was constantly in a state of work and didn't really sleep very well until I started my business. Then I started going, you know what? I'm going to work when I want, sleep when I want, train when I want, do what I want. And yeah, there was some times where it was rough, but when it caught up and I was able to make some good investments in my own time and my training and anything else that I was trying to do, it's now paying dividends. So it's literally, I'm making more now than I ever would make at a job. I'm making more than some companies that, I own the largest web design company in Houston. Let's just put it that way. So when I want to train, I train and nobody bothers me. Nobody's calling me on the phone and trying to mess with me and tell me I can't be at the gym. But with that said, people have always said, well, you're too young to do this. Now they're saying you're too old to do this. Why am I going to listen to you now if I didn't listen to you when I was 14? Like, why would I care what you think? Because most of the way that people think is loser mentality. They hope for things, they wish for things, if this would happen, I could. Bullcrap. You need to do something in your own damn life to make something happen. Now, this is the thing that most people don't realize. Yes, you have control over your life, but you can't just do something today and have something normally happen in your life tomorrow. It's normally years. You put in the work now, and in years you get paid the dividends. That's with anything, lifting. Put in the work now, it's not going to happen tomorrow. You're not going to see a PR tomorrow. And if you do, it's not even worth anything. It's just, if I would have bench pressed 600 pounds the first time I tried, it wouldn't have been worth as much as after the 10th time I failed 9 times and I got it on the 10th time. 700, I've attempted it 3 times and I've failed, but I'm still on the road. Like, you cannot tell me that I won't ever bench 700. Now, That's up to life if I do or not. I'm still going to keep trying at it, but I'm having fun doing it. It's not the end of the world. So with all that said, and I know I'm going on kind of a tangent here, but I think a lot of you guys out there would benefit from this. Is you're going to have a lot of people telling you, most of the time, people are going to tell you what you want to hear. The hard truth is you got to bust your ass and figure out a slice of the pie that you want in life and go and actually take it. You literally need to go and get it and actually, get married to the woman of your dreams. Go and snag her up out of college government class. That's Miss Swimhack, by the way, if y'all don't follow her on Instagram. 3 beautiful children and a wife for 17 years?
Check your background before you start a video, please.
Why? What's wrong with my background?
It's just the trash was hanging out.
Oh, I made sure the trash that was hanging out wasn't on the video.
No, it was. That's why I came. It still is. Oh my God.
You still see it? What? Oh, she's watching. That's cool. Check it out. All right, you're seeing live into Swimhack's home. All right, I'm gonna get on to the questions here. Anyway, so back to the subject at hand. So you being 48, most people in the world would think, oh, you're 48, that's almost 50 years old. There's no way you can be doing PRs in the gym. There's no way you can be being successful at something that should only be reserved for 30-year-olds. Bull crap. Like that's crap. I don't understand why. Your mind is a horrible thing to let be persuaded by the other people out there. Surround yourself with successful people, train with successful people, soak up all the knowledge you can, and you're going to be just fine. But I appreciate that feedback. Let me see if I can get through the questions before I get too many of them built up. Let's see. Take care. Got to put the kids down. All right, I hear you. I do not know Yvette Sylvan. I don't think so. Not off the top of my head. Sorry, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. Good luck on the road to 700. Yes, I did see Julius. I appreciate that. Yeah, he'll hit that probably within the next month, I would say. Reverse grip bench, does it help anything? Honestly, I don't know much about it. I can't really give you much information on it. I haven't really seen it being successful for anybody personally, or even like online. I haven't really seen it, and I couldn't tell you anybody that's using it right now. I've heard of a couple of people here and there, but not for sure. Randy, I don't count grams of protein. If I had to take a guess, because I have at some point in my life counted grams, it would probably be, 50 per, at least 300 to 400, I would say. Maybe not that many, about 300 or so, I would guess. But yeah, all of them. I have a lot more carbs than I do protein, that's for sure. Mike Ramos, nothing in the works for a collab with Julius or TD, but I think that's because we're all kind of just chasing our goals right now. It's tough to be on a training schedule that requires you like literally complete dedication, and then still try to travel to other gyms because we're not near each other. TD and Julius are a little bit closer to each other than I am to them, but if it was somebody that was local here, we could definitely work something out collabing. But, for me to fly out to California and do a gym lift and things like that, it takes a little bit out of you, so it would mess up the training schedule. But sure, we'll do something pretty soon. Work something out. When James goes to the club, the bouncer shows him his ID. Yeah, I don't have time for the club. Dude, I did so much clubbing when I was in the military. I don't even get anything out of clubs. I mean, I get, call me old maybe, but even when I was like mid-20s, I would rather have my stereo cranked up in my house, buy my own liquor from the liquor store, which is cheaper, and have a party at my house versus going to the club. I was a social person, but I was the underage club guy. You know, I had friends that owned clubs and bars, and I did that when I was 16, 17, 18 years old. And I kind of just wore myself out with it. It didn't really, to me, it was like, psh, you know, people, like, guys go to the club to pick up chicks. Well, if you already got a chick, why are you going to the club? Like, I'm not hating on it, but I just don't see, I definitely have no motivation to go to the club now. Got what I want upstairs. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. But if you're single, I can see that. I can see that, going hang out, club, that's cool. Yes, I have done log clean and press. The most I've done on a log is about 360-ish. When I was training for a strongman competition back in 2012. It was a little bit smaller for sure. So I don't know. I'm sure I could get over 400 now. I'm a pretty safe bet. I did a clean and press the other day just with 300 or with a barbell. Now it's a little bit different, obviously, but I feel like I have a lot more strength with a log because my hands are pronated or neutral grip versus pronated, and I think it would give me a lot more strength or to be able to lift more. But yeah, I don't have a reason to do that right now. Let's see, what did I miss? That was smooth. My bench max is 425. Been around that for 6 months. Which of your bench program would you recommend? Well, I'm going to always recommend the 24-week, not because it's the most expensive bench program, because it's the most, you're going to get more out of training if you train it longer. If, let's say, for example, your max is 425 right now. I don't know how your training has been looking, but for most guys, you've probably been sitting pretty heavy for a while, and you maybe have not done enough accessory work. So if you got on the 8-week program, in 8 weeks, you're just going to get the information of how to kind of go forward with your training. It's not going to peak you for a max. Now, the 8-week peaking bench program, it's different than the 8-week program because it's made for, let's say you're 8 weeks out from a competition, or you want to try a new rep. Let's say 425 is your max now, and that was 6 months ago. And you wanted to go for 440 or something, 450 in the next 8 weeks. There's no guarantee because I don't know how your training's been, but if you have been smart about your training and your accessory work has been on par and you're not maxing out and trying 400 plus every week, if you've kind of peaked your own way and got to 425, then I could see in 8 weeks with a proper peak, you could do better than 425, whatever that number is. Some guys might be 430, some guys it might be 475, and I've seen across the board. But what I would recommend is that you get on the longer one and you go a full 6 months. And so we break things down. The 24-week bench program, what it does is it gives you a base to work off of. So you're literally you're wanting to get to here and you're starting down here, and you have 24 weeks to get there. So we're building the base, and each week it gets a little heavier and less reps. So it's literally following very similar to how my training goes. And what I've heard from 98%, and I've actually got them all, I got the statistics of the bench program buyers for the 24-week bench program. Now the stats are a little bit different, actually a little higher, but the ones for the 24-week bench program, it was launched about 7 months ago, so I'm getting a few of them trickling in. And most of the guys have said, I have added 50 pounds to my bench press, which is phenomenal. Now, obviously, and I think the highest one that I've seen was one guy that went from 495 to like 545, which, well, that's 50 pounds. So it's for literally any level of lifter. I kind of, I guess, got pretty lucky on that one. I mean, obviously, I wrote it just in general. I didn't know who it would affect the most. A lot of questions I get are, if I'm a beginner lifter, is it for me? And I've had great results from guys that went from 135 to 225 on it in 6 months. Then I've had results, obviously the upper end would be 495 to 545 in 6 months. And I think that's pretty darn good. I mean, it speaks volumes for what the program's doing for them. The only bad advice, not bad advice, but the bad feedback that I've gotten, and I don't care, I'll share it with you guys, because I want to be honest, is that it's a little bit too much volume sometimes for some of the guys. So what I do is I just tell them, if you do a couple weeks at it and you're not getting enough recovery, as long as you're sleeping well at night, then take out a set and then see how that works. Because right now I think it starts off with 3 sets of everything. And if you just cannot handle more than 2 sets, then just do 2 sets. That's the flexibility of it. Or it's not enough volume, which I don't get a lot of that. But if it's not enough, throw in an extra set. That's the beauty of it, is you can still use the general template to make yourself go forward. And let me stress, general template is not something I'm gotten from somebody else. This is my program, built from scratch, not taken from anybody else. I don't resell somebody else's program. I have taken from not only my own programs that I did back when I didn't know jack crap about powerlifting and what worked for me then. I've taken a little bit about what I've learned from like Ed Cohen, Josh Bryant, other coaches that I know, and lifting strategies, videos that I've seen, questions that I've asked other lifters, and put together what works for me. And that's when I'm kind of pushing it forward and letting you guys have access to that. So it's not something that you're going to find anywhere else. I'm sure programs in general are pretty simple. It's not rocket science, but if you're like me, when I was, early 20s and I tried to figure out what to do with a program, I didn't know what to do. I just figured go in and bench every day and bench heavy, and then that would make me stronger. And I found out real quick that I only got to so many reps or so much strength, and then I was like, what then? And I would literally kind of just get depressed because I'm like, I don't know what to freaking do. So I look online, I figure out, I can do this, or I can do this program or that program. And, I just found something that worked for me. And, some of them are free, some of them you paid. And I figured, you know what, there's certain parts that I like about this program, but I hate about that program. And I'm finding that doing it at a higher level works for this and doesn't work for that. I started piecing together a lot of my own stuff. So it's not like it's pretty much linear progression, but there's a lot of other knowledge that I put into it. But I would say if you could swing the 24-week bench program, it is on special for $60 right now. And said earlier, which I'll touch on it again, I'll enter you in for a chance to win a pair of wrist wraps and elbow sleeves from Mark Bell. So if you want to hit me up on an email, swimhack@gmail.com, or if you're ready to get it, just go to benchonly.com/training. And I'll get you set up. I normally send them out by the end of the day. So, and if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, because I've got some good stuff coming. I'm almost at 9,000, which I think is pretty cool. I'm sure there's some people on here that may have, thousands more than me, or 100,000 subscribers, but I'm happy with my 9,000. You guys are legit. Let's see. Robert, I am, hit me up. Let me, you're asking if I'm taking on bench clients. I assume you mean for coaching. Shoot me an email, or, DM on Instagram @Swimhack. My email is swimhack@gmail.com. Depends on what you're needing. Let's talk about it. Let's see what you have, if you're wanting, like bench coaching, or if you're wanting, full power training, and kind of if you have any meets coming up. I do have, I don't like to say I have a lot of spots open, because I try to reserve those, and I don't want to take on too many clients, but we might be able to work something out, and if it's what I'm thinking, as far as just kind of a basic one-on-one with some video review, then sure, I'm sure we can do something. If it's something more complex, I know I've got a couple of like meet preps going on with some lifters, and I don't want to not give you the proper time if you're needing something a little more specific, or you might be needing something that I can't do. But hit me up, and I'll definitely help you out. And that kind of goes for everybody. If you ever are wanting to inquire, just go to our website and ask about coaching, and if there's a spot, then heck, we can go ahead and set it up. Let's see. Let me. Questions are going through. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, so Mike, I have young. If you have young kids, how did your training change while adapting to this lifestyle? Well, family always comes first with me. With that said, I've had some late night trainings. Right now, it's pretty stable. I've got a 13-year-old boy. a 10-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy. And so I don't have any babies in the house. That's a good and a bad thing. I love kids, but you know, when they're little, I felt pretty bad if I would just go to the gym while mom's at home breastfeeding and taking care of 2 other kids. Now, if they're all at school and she's okay, then I felt great leaving and kind of hitting my gym time and being alone. But I very much was wanting it to be, I didn't want there to be a big sacrifice on my family's part when I go and train. So a lot of the time, and it's a little tough during the summer because nobody's in school. And so that's when I train, is during the day. And I feel a little bit, I've had to shift a few things around here and there, but I'm always putting family first. You'll never see me mad at the family. I gotta go train. Screw you guys. I'm leaving here. That's just not gonna be me. I don't advocate that. You know, if there's been times when I don't like to train at night personally, but there's been times I'll go to the movies with the kids during the day. We'll hang out, do something, you know, whatever, swimming, we eat dinner, and then as soon as I tuck the kids into bed, kiss the wife, go hang out at the gym for a couple hours, come back, and it's midnight, you know. I don't want to do that every day, but if there's times when I need to do that to make things work, then so be it. I don't want my kids to ever think, oh, dad's leaving for the gym, he's leaving us alone, he doesn't want to hang out with us. That's the opposite. I want it to be, all right, dad, you've been around, we've dealt with you already today, just go to the gym, you know, get out of here. I feel a little bit better about that because I've kind of maxed out the time where they don't want to play with dad anymore. They want to play with each other and have fun, you know, and I can get on and do my thing. So any chance on bench press setup videos, almost like how to? Yes, and I apologize. I have been working on one for a while. I really wanted to hit 700 because I wanted to hit that and say, okay, this is how you set up as a 700-pound bench presser. I'll just, no lie, I want to tell you guys what I was thinking. But it sounds like, you know, I'm getting this question a lot. I just need to go in, and it was supposed to be on a deload, you know, when I'm not really going heavy, so I can go and actually set up and do things. On my heavy days, I don't have any time to do any kind of how-to videos just because it's not enough time. Plus, I'm already in the gym for like 4 hours. I don't want to take any more time. But yes, I will be getting one of those out. It's on my to-do list to get that out. So stay tuned. I will get one out. Do you know of Jason Mike, the drug-free 600-pound bencher? You should train with him. He lives in Texas. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really been keeping up with Jason. He's kind of reclusive, but I see him every now and then, like at the cage, and some other things. I know he's pretty big on IPF, so, but you know, I'm cool to train with just about anybody. Billy, you're one of the most humble guys on YouTube. Love your videos, and your bench press is just insane. Really no fancy video edits, etc. Straightforward, proper hardcore technique stuff. I appreciate it, Billy. I really do. You know, I have been putting a little bit of fancy video edits on my recaps, and that's just to bring up the value of the videos a little bit more, just for, you know, making sure that the information is still going to stay the same, but, you know, kind of structuring the videos into sections that guys can follow along with. Last couple weeks, obviously I've been traveling, so I've been doing a lot of hotel room type videos, and it's just kind of been straight to the point. Here's the recap video and be done with it. I will be getting back into my segments where I'm having the Q&As and things like that, so you guys keep those coming. But make sure you go and, you know, let me know what you think about the recap videos if you guys have already seen those. And, you know, I'll just keep them coming out. Yes, I will do a bench only meet later this year. Oh, bench only meet. Sorry, I read that the wrong way. You know, I don't know. After Boss of Bosses, I don't have anything planned. Obviously, if 700 doesn't go down, then yes, I will be planning on a meet again and chasing the bench record. I think at this point, it's just kind of it would be almost kind of selling myself short if I didn't do a full meet just to see where I'm at with squat and deadlift, because I've been having a lot of fun with those as a secondary lift. And I'm pretty sure that has made it to where there's not as much pressure on training legs right now. I still keep them in the mix. I don't see any reason why bench can't still keep going up. And at the very least, stay the same, which will put me at an all-time record in a full meet. So I just go in and have some fun with it. And just bring it back versus all the pressure to go 700. It becomes just lift for fun. Whatever happens, happens. I'm not going to Boss of Bosses to win anything. I'm not going there to put the biggest total up or the biggest bench or anything. I'm just going to see what I can possibly do on every single lift, and whatever that ends up being, then we're going to see something. Now, obviously, I went in with a I was the force to reckon with last year at Boss of Bosses. Went 2,100, won some money, got third overall, got first in Raw, and got third overall to Yuri and trying to remember who else was there that got. But basically, Yuri was in wraps, the other guy was in wraps, and I was the only one Raw. So that just gives you a feel for what I did. And that was only with a 705-pound squat, 622 bench, and a 771 deadlift. I am already sitting, well, I haven't done it quite yet, but I'm fairly confident that it's going to be well above 700 squat, at least 800 on deadlift, and my bench is already sitting at 665, so that's an all-time record in a full meet. I just need to stay healthy, and I don't want to go into this meet too confident or too cocky. I never want to go into a meet cocky. I just want to go in and have some fun with it, and whatever happens, happens. And then I'm still on the road to 700 pounds on bench. That's still my priority. I just figured, what the heck, we'll just drag squat and deadlift along with it. And some of you guys out there might be totally thinking, oh man, you should really just keep it bench. I'm doing what works for me. And I've always done that. I've always gone against the grain. So even if the studies show that you have more fatigue in bench when you're training squat and deadlift, or something's going to take a hit, I don't think so. It's not going to take a hit. Mark my words. I'm going to go in and I'm going to do some crazy stuff, barring no injury. There's no guarantees, but I'm going to have fun with it. I mean, I had a freaking blast on squat and deadlift yesterday. I mixed them up, and things happen when you take the pressure away. You just start doing kind of what's natural. And that's kind of scary to think what the possibilities are, but we'll see. All right, so let's see what we got here. Following your channel, looks like you usually only one flat bench one time a week. Are your programs written like that too? I'm worried about only benching one time a week. No, Meathead Life. My program is not written to what I'm doing now. That's the big key I want everybody to take away. You're not going to train like a 675-pound bench presser. You're going to train like I trained several years before I got into powerlifting, the normal kind of Joe approach with a spin of knowledge put on it. The benching on the 24-week or any of the bench programs is twice a week. Once is going to be heavy, like your heavy day, and once is going to be your lighter and your speed day with some shoulders mixed in. So you're going to get bench twice a week. The bench programs are a 3-day split. So actually, I'm sorry, I misspoke. You're going to bench twice a week and shoulders once. So that's kind of the split. You're going to have 2 days of benching. One is a little bit heavier than the other one, and you're going to have some accessory work on all 3 days. So no, you're definitely going to get the volume that you need. And like I said earlier, I don't know if you're on or not, but if it's not enough volume, add a set. If it's too much volume, take a set away. It's pretty easy. And you can always message me with questions. It's not coaching, but I'm not going to leave you hanging. And I get questions literally daily on my programs. Hey, I am on this number on this week. I can't do this. Can I do this? Yes, no. Whatever feedback they need. I can't do this exercise because I've got a hurt shoulder. Do you have an accessory? I normally just, hey, try this or try that. Or on this particular week, just don't do it. So you're going to get some feedback from me. And that's one thing that you can definitely bank on, is I'm not going to leave you hanging. As far as most of the feedback that I get is, it's challenging, but it's scary.